Welcome to the project. Tonight, tariff deals off the table. President Trump declines an exemption for Australia, so how will we respond?
Also, strap in Formula One fans. We sit down with the Red Bull racers, Max Verstappen and Liam Lawson.
Which is good because the guy there is kind of a fan. Plus, British star David Gray drops by to take us back to Babylon.
And the competition that tests your skills are doing absolutely nothing. Now, I don't want to sound cocky, but my girlfriend says I'm a shoo-in.
You're working hard tonight, Sammy.
I'm always working hard here, Sarah.
We are
you know
live
that.
from the lands of the Kulin Nation, and it's a huge welcome back to Miffwood.
Good to be here again. Yeah, in my port wine outfit.
Yes,
fantastic.
one for after the show as well. Let's get into today's top stories now. And Anthony Albanese says he'll continue to argue Australia's case for tariff exemptions as Donald Trump's trade war heats up. The US president's 25% tariffs are now in place on Australian steel and aluminium. It's a move the PM has described as entirely unjustified, but he says he won't impose reciprocal tariffs on US goods.
Such a course of action would only push up prices for Australian consumers and increase inflation.
Tonight, more than 40,000 homes across southeast Queensland are still without power as the Cyclone Alfred clean-up continues. Footpaths are lined with personal items trashed by floodwaters, with almost 200 temporary tips set up around Brisbane. Loads of groceries were ruined when the power went out.
We had full fridge probably of food we had to get rid of. Definitely a lot of money. Stressful obviously not being at work and having a new baby, but these things happen unfortunately.
In other news, Oscar Piastri goes into the Australian Grand Prix on a high after securing a multi-year contract extension with McLaren. The 23-year-old was already signed up until the end of the 2026 season. McLaren says this latest deal keeps him with the team for the long term.
I'm very excited to be in Papaya for many, many years to come now, and hopefully more success coming our way.
And if you're good at doing nothing, the Space Out competition being held in Melbourne in June might be right up your alley. It challenges participants to see who can zone out the most over 90 minutes. It's all about pushing back against hustle culture. Anyone who falls asleep, checks their phone or laughs will be disqualified.
Unreal.
How good is it getting the stairs and zoning out?
Oh, yeah. It's,
On the stairs.
Yeah, disassociation.
Oh, the stairs. Can you
It's
do
a
90
trauma
minutes?
Oh, is
response.
it? Oh, God. Yeah, that story checks out.
90 minutes is nothing. I could go weeks.
Yeah,
I don't think you could go more than 14 seconds.
What are you talking about? Have you ever worked with... I'm constly doing it on this show.
Yeah, but you're a comedian, so you obviously must have ADHD or something.
I do,
think
yeah,
there
I'm
would be.
medicated.
Yeah, so there'd be you get twitchy.
I do get twitchy.
Yeah.
Mel, Miff, I see you all the time just...
going off into space. Yeah, I have to admit, I love doing nothing as well, and I'm really good at it. I listed it as one of my best skills. But I had to sit for a portrait painting competition, a new TV show that's happening, and it was 4 hours. 4 hours? And I've got to say, I've never been able to sit still. And during this, I was good for a bit, and then after a while I started struggling. But the hardest bit was realising how busy it is in there, and that was the bit that
you don't want to get
sent
in there.
me bonkers. It's a mess in there, and I'm quite happy to have any distractions, just for my own mental health. Thank you very much.
Wow.
That's why we're in showbiz.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's it.
Well, today, one Aussie state is claiming new bail laws will be the country's toughest. They come amid a growing national trend that's seeing more young offenders behind bars and frightened communities demanding action.
We are here today introducing the toughest bail laws in the country.
A sweeping crackdown on crime. Victoria beefing up its bail laws for both adults and kids.
It's time that there be respect put back into our system, respect for the rules.
Currently, an accused youth offender is detained in custody only as a last resort. That's set to be scrapped. The new bail laws making it easier for courts to keep kids behind bars instead.
It will target repeat reoffenders of the very worst crimes where people, particularly young offenders, are breaking into our homes at night, often with weapons.
Those offenders set to face tough new tests, required to plead their case as to why they should be allowed out into the community. Breaching bail conditions also reinstated as an offence. The new laws come as Victorian youth crime rates hit their highest level in 15 years. The community crying out for action.
13-year-old boy yesterday bailed for a second time after allegedly threatening 2 women with a knife in a terrifying carjacking.
We are all suffering, our parents, our kids, you know, the elderly. It's disgusting.
Those concerns increasingly felt across the country.
I have feared for my life just to know that someone's in your home and taking your possessions, leaning over you with a torch in your face.
Last year, New South Wales strengthened its bail laws to clamp down on repeat youth offenders. Queensland passing hard-line adult crime, adult time laws 3 months ago.
The community is going to be safer.
In South Australia, teen offending has hit record levels over the past 5 years. The government prepping a new young offender plan that will include tough new bail laws for kids.
It just seems like it's a case of rinse and repeat for many of these kids.
But despite the public support, some are branding the new bail laws in Victoria a mistake.
We know incarcerating a young person is more likely going to result in that young person committing a crime upon release.
So are tougher laws really the solution to Australia's crime crisis?
Lock them up! Keep us safe! Lock them up! Keep us...
Terry Bentoncourt is from child rights organisation 54 Reasons, which is part of the Save the Children Australia organisation. Terry, is this the right move from the Victorian government?
We at 54 Reasons feel strongly that it's not the right move for Victoria's children. What we know is that when children go to jail, when they're locked up and they're locked up again, they come out and they repeat offend. And that isn't good for any of us. It's not good for the children, it's not good for our community, and we think we can do it better.
I understand your point, but the people we've spoken to in the past, they're scared. I mean, just last month we saw a 15-year-old allegedly steal a Mercedes during a home invasion while on bail. You know, young boys who were arrested over a crime spree involving armed robberies and a carjacking while on bail. I mean, how do we make the community feel safe?
Yeah. You know, that is a fundamental right of everyone, that they feel safe and that they're feeling safe in their homes and they're feeling safe in their communities. We share that at 54 Reasons. What we're worried about and what concerns us is that what we know about young people and what we know about them reoffending is that if we go out and we react in terms of this, which is correct, the state government does need to do something. We all need to do something. If we react straight into a protect fashion without really looking at all of our options, it's possible that we're going to make the situation worse. And we think that's what will happen if we send children back to jail.
So I hear what you say about the risk of reoffending if you send kids to jail, but isn't the problem they're already reoffending? So, and this is the point I think that the stats are showing out that the police are making. It's not that we have more young offenders, it's that they're committing more serious crimes and they're committing them frequently, right? So given that, if the bail laws are targeted at that group, so repeat offenders of the most serious crimes, don't they then become appropriately targeted?
That's a really good point. And if we have a think about what that means, we've got a group of a smaller group of young people, so to take them away from the broader group, we've got a smaller group of children who are reoffending. What we think is really important is understanding what the root cause of that reoffending is. We as people, all of us as individuals, adults, children, we all have an ecosystem around us. In the early years, sometimes we call it a village. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a family. We've got an ecosystem around us which is made up of community, it's made up of government, it's made up of family, it might be made up of friends. What we know about the young people who are out there, the children who are out committing these offences, is that there's damage to that ecosystem, that their village is not complete. Some of the trauma and some of the reasons and what's happening for those children, you know, we're talking about 10, 12, 11, 13, 14-year-olds. So what is driving these children to offend is something that we should be seeking to understand. And once we understand that, we're going to be in a much, much better place to invest in a safer community structure. We can look at place-based options in communities where communities know their children and their environments best, and we can implement measures, programs, we can get kids back into sport. We can have one person in every child's life to tell them that they are worth something and that they are good at something. And when we do that in the programs that we do at 54 Reasons, and when we do that, what we find is that children go off, they re-engage in education. They start, that spark ignites in them and they recognise that they can be something different. Because for some of these kids, they have never known anything different. This has been their whole life. Their introduction to crime or their introduction to the justice system came before they were even here.
And we know that
so it's really important that we recognise that.
Yeah, and we know you're doing amazing work with early intervention. Terry, we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's go to a break. See you soon.
Welcome back to the project.
An American woman says a bathroom divorce has saved her marriage. Debbie Weiner says her husband's sloppy habits were just getting too much, so she built her own custom toilets. Well, it's quite nice, actually.
Really?
With 2 teenage sons in the house, she says you can only imagine what the floor in front of the toilet looked like.
Aim for the toilet, not the floor in front of it. My area is spotless. Whatever happens with Jim's side of the bathroom, I don't worry about it. I don't step in it. I don't smell it.
What is going on in that
Debbie
house?
knows her wieners. That's what
That is true.
Why can't you get it in the bowl?
Get it in? Well, I mean, that's our biggest topic. What?
It's a lot of money, though, to spend to not teach someone how to use a toilet brush or aim correctly.
No, but I suspect she put a lot of years into that first.
Yeah.
And so then when that
She's
fails,
just given
you
up.
realise,
Yeah, but also it's like, is it so you spend a lot of money on like marriage counselling, or you just go to Reece Plumbing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of works out.
Or you just get a house divorce, not a toilet divorce.
I don't think I
divorce.
don't ever want to share a bathroom with a man ever again. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm happy to be single forever.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
How are
quite
we
a
meant to
deep
respond to
moment
this?
to that. Well, yes, go
I'm with
girl.
Debbie Weiner.
To movie world now, where these kids were absolutely amped after coming off a ride. They had a great time. I think all that adrenaline meant they shared way more than they probably should have.
So school's off because of the cyclone. So we're here on because we're having a day off. Well, actually, their school's not on, but our school is. But we just took the day off to come here.
Now, they didn't go to school, but they did learn something. Don't talk to a news crew if you're wagging school.
Oh, yeah, of course. I was laughing too much.
Yeah, it's not
Well,
very
there
funny.
are plenty of Aussies making waves in the music world this week. Let's take a look. King Charles has this week declared himself a fan of our Kylie, whose Tension World Tour has made its way to Asia after 10 incredible shows in Oz.
That's a wrap on Australia. Thank you so much. We had the best time.
Congrats to the Kid Laroi, who has clocked 13 billion streams across his credits on Spotify. I can't get enough of his collab I Know Love with girlfriend Tate McRae. Keita Alexander has pressed pause and dropped a summary song about supporting your loved ones. She's also uploaded the cutest TikTok sharing her huge touring news.
Do you know who I'm going on tour with? Dua Lipa. I'm levitating.
Adorbs. That's Aria amplified.
All right, guys, now there's some journalism students in the crowd tonight, so I need to give them a bit of a lesson here. People think working in the media is all about sex, drugs and rock and roll, and that is not true. We never listen to rock and roll. The media is complex, it's high pressure, it's global, and it's time right now to show you the best bits. First to the US, where this morning Trump turned the White House into a Tesla showroom to help his best mate's business.
Minutes ago, he was outside the White House with Elon Musk and Teslas.
I want to buy one of these. What's your best of these cars?
It's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2 seconds.
Should I get in?
Get in!
Wow. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer.
Everything's computer. It's like Waleed trying to use his smartphone. Also, if the Tesla home screen baffles him, I don't want to see him in front of the nuclear code. Malta has been forced to change its Eurovision entry called Can't, which is the Maltese word for singing. Now, because the chorus of the song, Serving Can't, yeah, it sounds like the C word, basically. Now, we've bleeped it, but the BBC, those good people, they didn't, and it shocked the hell out of this host.
Here's a song, and you can make up your own mind, but if you might be offended by strong language, do mute your television.
Oh, boy.
Well, there you go.
There you go, indeed. You can't say that on TV. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now it's time for the British Royal Watch, because you do not see this every day.
Britain's King Charles tested his CPR skills at a nursing event in London.
Oh, Charles. Oh, God. Those fingers would crush your ribcage. Can you imagine returning from being close to the pearly gates and the first face you see is the literal king just going... enough to give you another heart attack, all right? Let's go to the US for a landmark study.
A new study shows nearly a quarter of Americans pee in the shower on a regular basis. Men are more likely to indulge.
See, it's normal. I can't wait to show that to the manager at my fitness first. They had no right to kick me out. It was rude.
75% of people are lying, Sam.
Yes, exactly. Let's go back to the States now, because Trump has made international headlines for his tactful comments about the astronauts trapped on that space station.
President Trump says that they have been left up there, so maybe they are in love with each other.
I hope they like each other, but maybe they'll love each other. I don't know. I see the woman with the wild hair, good solid head of hair she's got. There's no kidding. There's no games with her hair.
Well, I know she's trapped up there, but after hearing that, I'm pretty sure she's like, I'm not coming home, for sure. Finally, let's meet a master criminal who is always one step ahead.
A man posing as a rep for an NBA player swallowed more than $700,000 worth of Tiffany jewelry. Police say he grabbed diamond earrings, a diamond ring, and left more than $700,000 sitting right there. They await for the jewelry to pass.
Oh, the waiting game. Been there. Now, to move it through the system a bit quicker, they actually called in an expert. Big trying to get it going, guys. That was... I hope they took notes, my students.
That's a break. See you soon.
Mates rates denied. Australia has today been left reeling after the US knocked back our bid for a tariff exemption on steel and aluminium exports, dragging us kicking and screaming into Trump's trade war.
This is not a friendly act. Friends need to act in a way that reinforces to our respective populations the fact that we are friends.
Australia, along with the rest of the world, today slapped with a 25% tariff on steel and aluminium exports to the US. Donald Trump rejecting our plea for an exemption.
We've been treated very unfairly by every country all over the world. Right now, we're like a chicken that's being plucked at. We're not going to let that happen anymore.
The White House saying he did consider a carve-out as promised.
I told him that that's something that we will give great consideration to.
But decided against it.
Exemptions to anybody are counterproductive. They don't work for the American people.
Last year, Australia exported $640 million worth of steel and $440 million worth of aluminium to the US, less than 0.2% of our total exports of $660 billion. But our leaders still aren't impressed.
Such a decision by the Trump administration is entirely unjustified.
I think this is a dog act after over a century of friendship.
The opposition claiming the PM didn't do enough to secure the same exemption Malcolm Turnbull managed last time round.
It's not just Australians who see the Prime Minister as weak and incompetent, it's our trading partners as well.
All of the other leaders of the Quad and AUKUS travel to the US. Where has this Prime Minister been?
For the sake of your children, my children, the prosperity of the nation in the future, this is the time to pick up the phone and do something.
But the government maintains the battle is far from over.
I'm not going to accept this as the situation yet. We've got a never say die approach to these things.
And questions now turn to how Australia will respond.
We've got this thing called Pine Gap. What I'll be doing is saying, you've got 7 days, so we're going to close this down. That means their intelligence gathering for this end of the world, they won't get any.
The government ruling out the tit-for-tat tariff retaliation dished out by countries like China and Canada.
We're not supportive of putting tariffs on American goods in retaliation. We're not going to make Australians pay more for goods and services.
So what's Australia's next move? And is our relationship with the US now on the rocks?
Well, Arthur Sinodinos was Australia's ambassador to the United States, and he's with us now. Arthur, say you are the Aussie government, you're the PM right now. What's your next move from here?
Well, if I'm Aussie PM at the moment, I've got an election to get out of the way. I need to get a mandate to then go to Washington, eyeball the president, use that opportunity to remind the president and why having a strong relationship with Australia on defence, security and economic grounds is in America's interest as well as our interest. It's not about saying to them, we need you. It's now about how and why they need us.
Yeah, that's all a bit boring. I prefer Jackie Lambie's approach, which is to threaten them with withholding intelligence, Arthur. What do you reckon about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a couple of options here. We can either send you guys over or we can send Jackie. Now, I don't know whether the president has ever come across someone like Jackie Lambie, maybe in some parts of America, but I reckon she could have a real impact. So we've got a couple of options there.
Do you like her idea? I mean, Jackie Lambie, as the envoy to the United States, holds appeal for all sorts of reasons, I have to confess that. But the idea itself, do you think there's something in using our intelligence sharing leverage?
It's dangerous to put that stuff on the table. It really is, because we get a lot of benefit out of those sorts of defence and intelligence relationships. And so you don't easily use them as just leverage in this way. If you escalate on the president, he will escalate further. We saw this with Canada, where he threatened to raise tariffs to 50% when some of the Canadians said they would raise the tax on electricity going to the US.
This accounts for such a small amount of our exports. Are we overreacting?
Well, I don't think we're overreacting, but it should be a wake-up call to us that we're dealing with a new America. We have to deal with the Americans in an even more transactional way than we have in the past, and realise that we also have to keep developing our other relationships with like-minded democracies if we're going to promote that rules-based order that is so important.
So is the upshot of that Australia just doesn't really actually matter that much to America, or at least not to this White House, as of right?
Well, I don't think we should take this personally. I mean,
this
is happening.
I'm not wounded. I'm not wounded personally. I just mean.
I'm not saying. I'm saying as a country we should not take this personally, right?
Yeah, but Arthur, that's actually my point. It's not personal. If it was personal, then the fact that we were Australia would matter. The fact that we are Australia and have this history with the United States clearly doesn't matter. That's kind of so. It's not about taking. This is what flows from the transactional nature of the relationship, isn't it? That Australia simply doesn't matter to the US because it's Australia anymore.
Australia matters to the US when there's mutual benefit in the relationship. That's the world we're in.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be, actually. From our point of view, our national interest should always be about why do we have particular relationships with particular countries and how do they serve our national interest. So if anything, this is a reminder that ultimately we've got to serve our own national interest and not have a sentimental view about some of these relationships.
Arthur, always good to speak to you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Very interesting. Now, everyone's kind of talking about Trump being a bully and how they want us to kind of stand up to him and fight fire with fire. I disagree. I know a lot about bullies. There is another option, and you've got to suck up to them. Just really, my ass-kissing advice for Albo is to charm Donny with some kind of true blue Aussie experiences. Now, I've thought about this. For example, let him hold a koala. But, yeah, watch out for the chlamydia, buddy. And, yeah, Donald, you should take care too. We could let him host Play School, which would be fun. He loves TV. He loves the rocket clock, Big Ted. I could see them being close. And we could show him all our big things, you know, like the big banana, the big pineapple. We could even help him by remodelling the big orange. That's pretty good. He would like that. Finally, we don't have a Greenland for him to invade, but I would give him the whole top end. I'm happy, only because the slogan's right there already. You'll never know. You'll never know if you never Mar-a-Lago. Political political science major, Wollongong University. You're welcome.
How did you go with those bullies at school, mate?
Oh, yeah, no, they're still bullying me now. We're in a group chat. They're some of my best friends.
Okay.
Let's get some more news now. And a New South Wales man has become the first person in the world to be discharged from hospital with an artificial heart. Aged in his 40s and suffering severe heart failure, he was given the Australian-designed implant while he waited for a real heart transplant. He lived outside of the hospital with the mechanical version for a month until a viable organ became available, and that operation was also a success. And Daniel Timms is the founder of Bivacor and the inventor of the world's first durable, totally artificial heart. Daniel, congratulations. I mean, what's it like knowing that your invention is saving lives?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal experience. You can imagine so many people are touched by heart failure, and having a device that, you know, can keep these patients alive but also return them back to their family. It really is a game changer, and it's been a very long journey for our team. It's great to be able to see the success we're having so far in the clinical studies.
It's a heartwarming story in so many ways. Now, Daniel, you did bring a prop, so I feel like you should at least get to demonstrate to us how it works. So show me what's going on with this.
So artificial hearts, you can imagine you might want to try to make one that mimics the squeezing action of a natural heart. But the problem with that is that squeezing action has to happen once a second, and eventually those membranes are going to wear out. The mechanical valves are going to wear out, so it's not durable. You can imagine an artificial heart, you've got to replace the heart, it has to be durable, it cannot stop. So the way that this device works is doing away with the way Mother Nature pumps blood, and instead it uses this rapidly spinning disc, which I just happen to have in my pocket.
Ooh,
this one here. Yep. This is inside this pump. Yeah, exactly. So this rotating disc is spinning at 2,000 revs per minute inside this device. But that disc is magnetically levitated, just like the trains in Asia. Therefore, there's no mechanical wear and there's no friction. So therefore, it can last and last and last and last.
So if it's just a constant motion like that, does that mean that if you've got that inside you, you no longer have a heartbeat?
What a great question, because traditionally these devices are continuous flow, and so you would not have a heartbeat. And initially when we started trials, earlier in Texas, with preclinical trials, we didn't have a heartbeat. However, we realised, actually, you know what, we can speed this up and down once a second, and we can recreate an artificial heartbeat. So much so that you could feel the pulse in this patient's wrist. And then also what surprised us is a blood pressure cuff that you get in the local doctors. It actually picked up the blood pressure as well. So it helped us to manage the patient by rotating this speed up and down once a second.
I mean, this is extraordinarily clever. How long did it take you to create this?
Yeah, it's been a labour of love for more than 20 years now. It became, it was out of a project, a PhD project in Brisbane all those years ago. And it's something that was kind of born out of a personal connection to heart failure, in the respect that my father was diagnosed with heart failure while I was a student up there. He was a plumber, so it kind of made sense that I had some insight into pumps, and this is probably the hardest pump that you can try to create. But certainly his background helped in those early days to try to think about how we might be able to replace the heart with a pump, just for a different system.
In fact, wasn't one of your first prototypes, didn't you actually get bits and pieces from Bunnings to put it together?
Totally. Absolutely, we did. And in fact, we were sitting there on the floor putting together pipes and fittings to try to recreate an artificial circulation. That helped us to refine the prototypes, and we'd always go back to Bunnings every weekend, just increasing our knowledge about circulatory systems.
Is this what Bunnings mean by lowest prices are just the beginning?
It may well be. They certainly contributed to something very meaningful, for sure.
Just so incredible, Daniel. Thanks so much for sharing your story with us. You're changing lives. Absolute legend, huh? Now, in other news, there are calls tonight for an American influencer to be deported after she posted a video of herself stealing a baby wombat away from its mother. Sam Jones, who describes herself as a wildlife biologist, has since deleted the footage, but it showed her holding the screeching Joey with its mum appearing to be in distress.
Look at them. It's like, oh, it's chasing after her.
I got a baby wombat. Hey, Mama's right there, and she is pissed. Let's let him go.
Wombat whisperer Donna Steppen joins us now from Sleepy Burrow's Wombat Sanctuary. Donna, how did you feel watching this video?
sad and angry at the same time.
Yeah. Why is that? What was going through your mind?
No wildlife biologist would ever do that to any animal, let alone a wild animal. So I can't believe that. But angry in the sense that somebody feels that they have the right to just walk up to a wild animal, validate themselves by doing whatever they want to do with it as a commodity, with no respect whatsoever for what they're creating for that animal. That Wombat Joey was in so much stress. The mother would have been at a very heightened level of stress. Animals dictate their environment through their senses. They only know a survival state. That's how they go through life. That would have put the Joey and the mother at such a heightened state. Yet, from a human perspective, all they derived from that was laughter. There was no indication of the severity of what they were doing. It was purely for their validation and for their fun and enjoyment. There was just no respect whatsoever for the life of the Wombat Joey.
Donna,
whether you like wombats or not.
Donna, I don't disagree with you at all, but the woman in the video claims she only held it for a minute before releasing it back to the mum. So can you tell us why this is such a big deal?
It's a big deal because, A, the woman shows a very high level of ignorance in the way she dealt with a wild animal. Wombats, you can kill a wombat with stress before it dies of its actual injuries. When you're dealing, wildlife carers have an issue with wombats dying of stress before they actually die of their injuries. The level of stress that she would have put on that animal in the ignorant state that she handled it. We have people in Australia on the ground in their various ways of desperation fighting something called mange in wombats. That is developed predominantly through stressful situations. To find a mother and a wombat mange-free to then go and introduce such a high level of stress, the implications of just to that animal is huge. We're down to 20% of this species in terms of health and healthy animals that can breed. There was just no disregard, such a lack of education, and to say that you're a wildlife biologist to try and condone what you did doesn't rub off in the slightest.
Aussies are really angry. Some are saying she should be deported, but Donna, thankfully we've got people like you looking after our wombats. Thanks so much for your time tonight.
All right, let's have a quick break. Max Verstappen and Liam Lawson will be up very, very soon. See you then. Welcome back. Our next guest probably wrote one of your favourite songs.
And if you want it, come and get it. Crying out loud.
David Gray is a songwriter of the purest kind, finding big emotion in the quietest of moments.
There she is, loving better life.
His breakthrough album, White Ladder, sold more than 7 million copies. His music influencing everyone from Ed Sheeran to Hosier to Adele.
Sail away with me, honey. I put my heart in your hand. Sail away with me, honey, now.
David's making his way back to Oz this year, and with the last tour selling out, you're gonna want to act fast.
Please welcome David Gray. David, lovely to have you on the show, and on the hot on the heels of an announcement mere hours ago that you're coming back to Australia. We are the last leg of the tour. I presume that's because we're the most fun.
It was a lot of fun last time I was down, that's for sure. I think that after all that COVID lockdown stuff, when we did the White Ladder anniversary tour, it sort of kicked off everywhere we went. So the memories of coming to Australia last time were happy ones. The crowds were really, really up for it. It was like the perfect record, antidote to all that weirdness, you know? Hello there, look at that.
Yeah, indeed. How do you feel looking at all that?
Good.
Well, you make a lot of other people feel good too, so thank you for that. We just heard your new single, Plus and Minus. Now, David, can you tell us, how long did it take you to actually write that song?
Yeah, it's my record. I started this one in 2003, end of 2003. So it was about 20 years before I'm striking a pose there on the piano. About 20 years before I managed to get the whole thing nailed down, and Talia came and sang the duet part of it. So it just kept changing subtly over the years, and I kept picking it back up and seeing if I could fix it. So it was unusual, but it came out good in the end. So you just have to stick with it, you know?
Well, you are the poster child for sticking with it. It's been a long and enduring career, and a very successful one at that. I wonder, though, when you hear the music that you wrote 20 years ago, do you enjoy it now, or are you a bit traumatised by it, given it was, something that you were juggling with as to whether or not it was good enough?
No, I enjoy listening to it. I mean, I think when you listen back to things, they sound strange to you. That just the way that they actually are. You play it live, you have a kind of idea of what it sounds like. When you take the songs out live, they kind of grow a bit, you know? So when you listen back, it's sometimes a surprise. It's like, my God, what do I sound like? Your voice sounds different and everything from way back then. But I enjoy listening. I mean, they're strange documents. They contain sort of feelings and emotions that were true of that, and memories too. They're very rich in memories from the time that you made them. So it's always a mixed process. It's like checking, really. I'm just checking if it's still any good. That's what I'm generally doing.
Well, at least you've got songs to check on. I'm just checking where my keys are most of the time. So you're doing really well. But speaking of songs of the past, your hit song Babylon, which was huge in 2000, it's just had a huge moment on TikTok last year. What do you see as the enduring power of Babylon?
Yeah, that song's just got something, you know? It always did have. And I remember the very first time I played it. Look at me making a complete fool of myself. That's the key to success these days, you know? Make a complete fool of yourself. Be absolutely shameless. So my daughter actually put me onto this whole thing. She said, Dad, they're showing your song some love. Aww. You need to say something. And I said, I don't do TikTok. I don't do all that stuff. She said, she came back a week later and she said, it's getting bigger. You've really got to do something. So we did this duet thing in our living room, and so the next thing I had a million views or whatever. So you know, that's a whole other world, I guess. So yeah, it's still alive. The song's still alive. It always had a sort of strange magic power. I remember the very first time I played it live, before anyone knew what it was. It wasn't available to listen to or anything, and the whole audience was just with it. So it's looked after me.
Oh, well, pre-sales for the past and present tour start on Monday. Would you please thank David Gray?
Thank you.
Time for a break, my project, right after this. Welcome back, you're watching The Project.
Now, the Grand Prix is around the corner this weekend. You can hear the engines revving. Well, not in here, but out there you can. And coming off the back of the drivers, finding out they're going to get fined if they swear, I caught up with the new look Red Bull team.
Max Verstappen wins the season opener. He takes the Grand Prix. There's a big opportunity for George Russell, but a better one for Max Verstappen. Verstappen to the lead in Brazil.
At just 27, he's the reigning world champ.
That is 4 in a row, Max. Congratulations.
2025 sees Max Verstappen racing for a record-equalling 5th consecutive crown. And he's got a new teammate, a 23-year-old Kiwi, rookie Liam Lawson. He's quick as, bro.
Welcome to Formula One, Liam Lawson.
For years, my girlfriend had described me as the quickest man alive. Today, I would finally meet my competition.
Max, Liam, let's crack one to start. Oh, no, I can't.
This is why I got the preparation I got.
Yeah, you knew what you're doing. Cheers.
You just need to do it more often.
To start an interview with a Red Bull, I hope we are paid to do that. Now, guys, this is very exciting. Welcome to Melbourne, start of the season. This is a safe space. You guys can swear as much as you want in this interview.
We won't get fined?
You won't. There's no fining. So do you want to have a crack right now?
I swear a lot anyway, so it's not like I need to let it out now.
I don't think we need to do more of it.
What a
idiot! Do you think we could start like a GoFundMe to pay the fines for you guys?
Nah, I think that's okay, but it's just a bit silly that we have to deal with these kind of things, you know.
I agree.
And sometimes, you know, when you have a lot of adrenaline, things happen, but that is actually in the rule book is a bit too much, I guess.
We're in Melbourne. I feel like the Melbourne track sometimes gets a bit of unfair criticism. Do you think we need to make it more exciting, the Melbourne track? Could we do some changes to it?
I've never driven it, so I'm excited. I don't know, obviously Max knows it better than I do, but it looks cool. It looks very, very fast.
What do you think, Max?
I've retired lately, got a lot of races here.
Yeah.
Always like with mechanical problems.
Max Verstappen has smoke from the rear of the car.
So I actually didn't even get to race a lot, but it is... yeah.
So you're excited just to see the track?
I'm just excited to finish a race, to be honest, around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tough to pass because a lot of the corners are very fast.
Could we make it more Melbourne? Could we put like a hook turn in there somewhere? You know the hook turns in the CBD where you've got to give way to the wrong side?
To the right? No.
No, maybe we'll...
I'm not...
I don't know.
I don't design tracks, so I don't know.
We should get to design tracks. I think that would be a cool idea.
I think that
we had some input into actually designing tracks, because then we could make some really cool...
And then you could win, you could cheat. It would be fantastic.
Karen, it's something that we know we're good at, yeah.
Max, 4-time world champion, you win so much. Does it ever get boring when you're in front?
Well, I mean, you still lose more than you win. I mean...
Yeah, but at least when you're losing, you're in the hustle, you know? When you're so far out in front, you're kind of not competing. You're just miles ahead.
Competing with yourself.
Oh, that's dangerous. Liam, huge your story to now get here to Rebel Racing. You didn't even have a seat last year and you've come all this way. This is like the big time. This is as big as it gets. How are you feeling about it?
It's pretty big. I'm just excited. As you said, the last couple of years has been pretty tricky. It's exciting to be here. It's very, very close to home.
Well, you know, you're also Australian now. I don't know if you know, Max.
I knew you were going to do that. No, this is
New
what they do.
Zealanders, like Russell Crowe.
Yeah, so
you're an Australian guy.
I raced here once, and then they were like, "Oh, Liam Lawson is made from Australia."
It's unreal. We've just got another Aussie.
Aussie.
Oi,
No.
No, come and say oi, oi.
No, I'm not doing it.
Oi, oi.
I'm from New Zealand.
Oi, oi,
New Zealand
oi.
flag. We got red stars, not white stars.
Oi, oi.
I'm not doing it.
God damn it. Well, I tried. Max, would you be Australian for the weekend at least?
Nope.
No.
No, I like being in Australia. I have a lot of friends as well from here. But I think you always have to stay true to your own country.
That's true. Okay, on the count of 3. Oi, oi, oi.
He's not doing it. He's not doing it, so I won't do it.
Thanks.
You did try.
You can't really do a shoey with jandals, can you?
No, exactly.
2 quick questions.
Yes.
First of all, did you mention to them that you drove your girlfriend's car?
I didn't bring that up. I was trying to impress these men.
And second of all, if Max Verstappen swears in Dutch, does that count?
Oh, it's a great question. Why don't you say a few swear words in Dutch right now?
I don't know any.
Senses. Oh, neither do I. Yeah, I thought you had some ready to
Give
go.
me 5 minutes with Croatian, though,
yeah.
and I can rattle a few off.
That's the music.
Are they playing it?
That's it from us tonight.
No.
Is that